Instead of trauma being, okay, something that happened to me, what is it that I can come to create a difference in what we're learning? And maybe trauma is something else. I prefer to call it energetic imprints. And so how can we tap into those energetic imprints and let them go instead of focusing so much on them? And I think one way to do that is together. It's easy to be stuck in our own stories when we're alone. It's easy to be trapped in them because we have no new information, no new biorhythms that are impacting us, and it feels so boring, but also very repetitive. There's not a lot of growth that happens.
Yeah. And I know for me, like it allows me to more or receive what you shared, where I can treat it as an energetic imprint and let it go and grow from that when my mind is on board.
Oh,
Because
for
my mind,
sure.
I realize, is there to protect me. And so there's parts of my mind that won't expose itself because like, no, no, no. We're here as the backup plan. In case some shit goes wire, we're coming out. Okay. We're doing this for you. And that's why we don't want to be seen. You need us. Shh, look the other way. You know? Here's the thing though, when get in touch with my mind and create a new story of like, okay, this trauma, right? There must be a gain I'm getting from being attached to this trauma. Or I want to be right. There's a story that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. And so this trauma is part of my identity. Okay. And there's a benefit perhaps from that, keeping myself safe, right? Or not having to put myself out there and I make reasons why, right? So it's looking at that. I'm like, hey, what am I gaining from it? And then looking at what can I gain from transmuting that trauma into something greater. So I just got to have that conversation, right, with myself. So my mind is like, wait a minute. It actually does benefit you more if you allow this to let go and transmute this into a gift rather than just staying where you're at. And another piece is like, what's my identity, right? It's like I'm so attached to who I am with this trauma versus who I really am or who
Yeah.
I want to become.
Yeah.
So I gotta have that conversation with myself to detach that, like unscrewing those pieces, so that when Summer says, "Hey, drop in and be with your trauma," there's more, I guess, receptivity. I'm more
Yeah.
willing because I know
There
what's on the other
is
side.
a large number of benefits from being sick or stuck, from
Yes,
having
the benefit of being
large,
sick.
yeah, or being stuck. Some of them, even nowadays, actually, if you're a high trauma victim and you get money, that's one thing. A lot of times we get a lot of sympathy. People will help us out. That's how we get our attention because we don't know how to ask for it any other way. And you're right, our identity, but who are we if we don't have that? If we don't have that in our lives? Yikes. What does that mean? Who are we if we don't have it? It also stops us from doing things we'd rather not do. If we're sick or stuck, we don't have to admit to or have to
Take
do a
ownership,
lot of things. If I'm sick,
right?
I don't have to go to work. And if I hate my work, then I'm going to stay sick, especially if I don't know how to negotiate a way around it, or if it seems too hard for me, it's easier to say stick or stuck.
Yeah,
There's
and have something to
lots,
blame.
and you've got something to blame that's outside of yourselves. When we get outside of our victim stories, we become empowered. We get power from within. And we're not so focused on blaming the trauma, someone else, our story, or whatever else it is. We begin to use um, everything in our lives. Like you said, Dre, it's always a gift. Sometimes we can't see why. Some of the most difficult situations in my life has honed me into this diamond of being able to handle some of the most horrendous, uh, what would you call it? Not well, they are
Jesus.
opportunities, but what's that? Situations that
Mm.
most people have no clue what to do with. Someone's having a panic attack on an airplane. Something's gone wrong. Someone's just been in an accident. And I have the capacity to hold that space. And so as we keep tuning our forks and being able, our bodies, what I call our tuning forks, as we're able to do that, we're able to just be part of more of life. It's very exciting. We start to actually feel that life happens to us, that we're a part of life, that it happens through us versus happening to us. We become one, as you know, the spiritual saying, we are one. Well, how do we start to feel that? We have to start by going and having our body be a part of our whole being. How do we communicate what's going on in here to our head so that we can take action on things without just running on, what do you call that, reactivity? How do we make conscious decisions about our next step, our next thing that we're going to say or communicate to somebody else? And I think you're right. It starts with our pity parties, noticing how we feel sorry for ourselves, laying it all out on the table and starting to, you know, pick it apart and acknowledge it and let it go. And there's a bit of grief that comes with letting whatever part of us, whatever identity we've had, go. It's kind of sad, especially if we've had that identity for 30, 40 years.
How attached is my ego to it? It's an ego death. It'll do what it needs to do, like hold on, right? And yeah. 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 That's the work, right? To get to a place of realization that the earth is my home and humanity is my family.
Yeah.
And a work in progress to get to that like embodied experience. Because all those parts of me, my victim, my judge, no matter how much work I do, it's still there. It's just, the question of what's my relationship with those parts of myself, right? Just like what's your relationship with your family and your kids? And that's based on time, right? Quality time. So how much quality time am I investing in myself to get to know myself? And I love how you say just lay it down. Have my pity party and lay it down because that creates spaciousness and clarity now. I can see it now. Right? I can see the connections. I can see where it comes from.